And we're back. Game number 2 of our leadoff best of 3. Team Liquid taking on Team Empire. And yeah, must win for both more or less. Empire still sitting at 1-2, but they did get the game 1 win, so that means a win here in game 2 would bring them back to even with 3 series left to play in their overall schedule. Liquid, though, this is their next to last series. And at this point, it would take a lot of help from elsewhere in the field for them to have a shot at postseason play, even though 6 of the 8 do end up advancing to postseason. They just got off to such a bad start that even with the win against Fnatic, they would just really need like Rockskis or Fnatic to both bottom out completely for them to make it, and they can only really have a realistic shot if they end up getting a win, at least one more win in their remaining series, and they would need preferably one here today. So coming up, Empire has Invoker and Nyx Assassin, so taking away the Nyx from Bulba. Invoker picked up for, once again, the emergent mid player, which is finally getting, in my opinion, the recognition he deserves. Resolution has been a beast for quite some time, and now really being talked about a lot more, as he's well-deserved. Liquid, though, going to show us the Bad Rider, and they're going to go ahead and grab a Dazzle in second position as well, so help break down the draft, and of course, lend his insight and analysis. Welcome back, my co-caster for the extent of the D2L Western Challenge, Tralf. And love an early Dazzle pick, Tralf. You know, whenever you see an early Dazzle, it's going to be a fun game one way or the other. You just tend to see some aggression. You tend to see some push. You tend to see that Dazzle making big plays or, as the case may be, missing big plays. Either way, lots of reasons to get excited.
Yeah. I mean, the Grave is certainly a really powerful tool at any aspect or any point in the game, so that's good for them. Invoker picked up early for Team Empire. As you mentioned, Resolution, one of the standout mid players in your opinion, and I have to agree. And I believe he does run Exort Invoker almost all of the time.
Yeah.
And he really plays that like a 1 as well. He just farms. And he just kind of participates in kills where they are offered around him, or he gets them globally with the Sunstrike. But he just farms up. I think he normally goes for the Necro book, although he does change it up a bit, I think, from game to game. But he just gets an immense amount of farm. And one of the good things is, with Exort Invoker, too, is you have a lot of pushing potential, not to mention your damage output is so freaking strong, especially if you know what you're doing, which I know Resolution does. So, Invoker, smart pickup, Nyx Assassin for them as well, probably going to be in the offlane by Mag. And as you mentioned, Batrider and Dazzle, Bulba just plays an amazing Batrider. Well, Demon too, but in this case, it's probably going to be Bulba, and he's had great success with this hero as of late.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm just going to throw this out there, just based on what we've seen out of Liquid in terms of habits. Well, Empire's already accounted for it, banning out the Sand King and the Slarder. And I think this is just Empire knowing this squad very well. As you see a couple of picks like a Dazzle and a Bad Rider. I mean, Dazzle, he always has things that are going to help. Weave's going to be amazing at 20 minutes. It's going to be amazing at 60 minutes. It doesn't matter. Same thing with Shallow Grave. It can really help you a ton. But you see an early Bad Rider pick, the way that they tend to run lineups with the Bad in particular, but especially with the Dazzle, who fits into aggressive, again, push-oriented, fight-oriented, you know, go fight instead of go farm kind of lineups. Those bans on TC Slarder and Demon Sand King, I think, are just so smart, because I would have guessed immediately coming into the second pick phase that we would have seen a Sand King pick for Demon. We've seen him shine on that hero throughout the Western Challenge and, of course, elsewhere, and the Slarder ban as well. Something that Liquid really likes to run. But coming back around to Resolution's Invoker, you know, I'm a little surprised that more and more players have gotten away from building an early Midas on Invoker. I mean, you certainly still see it, but there was a time not that long ago where you saw it more often than not. That's just not the case anymore. But given how Resolution plays it, and given the fact that Invoker arguably scales better with levels than just about any other hero in the entire game, I kind of hope he builds the Midas. I feel like it's really going to fit in with what they showed us in game 1, which was the ability to just remain patient, to take exchanges where you can get them, get yourself an efficiency lead, and that was really where they shined in game 1, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't go and try to repeat that here in game 2.
Yeah, I'm almost positive Resolution will build a Midas on him. And I think one of the reasons why you're mentioning why we didn't see it for a while is because up until like 2 weeks ago, it was all Quas Wex Invoker that we saw, like all Quas Wex. And the popular strat with Quas Wex Invoker was you just get phase boots and you rush in Orchids, and you run around and just look for pickoffs, and you don't farm anymore. And some people still play it that way, and it's still very, very effective. I think S4 is, to mind, one of the only players that really still sticks with that Quas Wex Invoker, and it's still very, very strong. But this I think Exort is almost a little bit more safe, because you can obviously the reason why global strats are so effective is you can still farm, but still have a presence even when you're farming. Heroes like
Right.
Spectre, AA, that kind of thing. And the same kind of thing applies with an Exort Invokers. You can still farm constantly in the jungle with your forward spirits. You can pressure lanes with your forward spirits, but you can also have a presence outside of just farming in that one lane with the Sunstrike. So,
lot of negative armor, to put it mildly, on the side of Team Liquid. They're not a big fan of it. They're going to have presence of the Dark Lord, Wave of Terror, and of course Dazzle with Weave. And this kind of jives with what I was saying, just the way they like to play these kind of lineups, especially when you see an early bat pick. I don't know that. I mean, one would imagine this will be a Demon Shadow Fiend. That's what makes sense, though. Demon certainly can play the bat. It's just when you look. I mean, Quickfoot can play it too, though. So I mean, it's kind of irrelevant who's on the hero. But this is going to be a fighting Shadow Fiend who will farm, but I think they're going to look to put him to use very, very early on and go with an early fight, kind of a build for him. And he may end up getting a Midas, and there's still the option, of course, of running him elsewhere out of mid, but you don't really see that as much as you used to. Sometimes you can isolate him in a solo safe situation. Sometimes you can tri-lane him, but I actually had a discussion with Puppy about that a while ago, and he really convinced me for a number of reasons that Shadow Fiend as a tri-laned hero just really is inefficient and really doesn't suit what the hero's meant to do. But Liquid going to ban out the Morphling, and this is going to be an action-packed game, I would imagine. Whenever you have a Nyx Assassin who can be effective as soon as he hits 6, Invoker, as you said, very likely to be a pure Exort build Invoker. Rubik's going to have a lot of great spells to steal and a Visage. I can expect to see some fireworks early. I don't think it's going to be like game 1 was, where it was kind of quiet for a long time. I mean, the early game obviously takes time to really get chugging into gear and to see the rotations come to fruition. But once it does get going, I think both of these teams are just going to be out for blood pretty much from the mid game on.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, and then I guess Puppy as well, if you said that about Shadow Fiend and tri-lanes. Like, it certainly can work, and whenever someone or myself says, like, oh, I don't like this, or for instance, I'm not a fan at all of the one position Wraith King, that doesn't mean it can't work. It doesn't mean it might not win a game. Like, for instance, C9, when Eternal Envy played it and went for the Blink build, it's really dictated by how the rest of your team plays and your idea of how you're going to play that hero. So just because it might not be the best thing doesn't mean it can't work. But I still, that being said, agree. I think Shadow Fiend's place is just in mid, man. It's just that's his place. He's a good mid hero, one of the best mid heroes. Utilizes the races best in mid as far as spamming out, keeping himself out of harm's way by spamming out, and then utilizing the jungle when he needs to. But as far as Team Empire's lineup goes, I really like it. I just feel like all of these heroes are just like tier 1 heroes. Like, they're just all so good individually. They have good stuns. They have good damage with Invoker. Visage has good damage when he gets the birds up. I love Rubik as one of my favorite supports to watch, especially when you have a capable player on it. Yeah, I just think they have a lot of very good heroes on Team Empire. But that's not to say Team Liquid's lineup is not as good. I mean, now with the final pick of Centaur, gotta love that hero. And we've seen Centaur and Dazzle combination come out a lot as well. Yeah,
well, for good reason. I mean, you talk about the power of Double Edge and just pretty much, again, mass armor reduction. Team Liquid will be on Radiant, so they're not going to be able to use that quite as easily to take early Roshans, but it doesn't mean it's not a possibility, especially if they can get some effective pickoffs to begin with, or if they're able to get up an early medallion. But just first instinct when I look at this, the two heroes that I think are going to, based on what we see out of Empire so far, and this could change with their 5th pick, their success is going to be predicated on Nyx Assassin and Rubik. Invoker's going to be able to do what he does, and Resolution's fantastic in that role. Visage can hang back. You can assume there's going to be good bird micro. And, of course, Soul Assumption, not exactly the hardest ability to hit, given you can shoot it from the frickin' fountain if you want to. It's got one of the longest ranges of an early spammable spell in the entire game. But
I still don't know why that's not nerfed, by the way. I just got to say that. It's so strong, man.
Yep. And especially on the hero who does so well if he gets ahead in terms of items. If he's able to get a lot of gold dedicated to an early Scepter, he does tend to... if your team has early success, you're going to see Visage pile up kills and just be walking around with loot aplenty in his pocket. But the initiation out of the Nyx Assassin, because they are going to so badly need 2- and 3-man impales, and Rubik, with so many spells at his disposal to help turn these things around, the play of him is going to matter so much. But again, ostensibly, one would imagine, well, I mean, there's no real question. They're looking for a hero for Silent right now. And the Luna has been banned, as has the Morphling. And they're going to go Viper. Now, Viper's an interesting choice. I like it, but it makes their lineup feel a little bit more thin whenever you talk about their capabilities. He's going to be able to take some pressure off the supports by getting up an early mechanism. He is very tanky and feels very tanky in the early stages of the game because because of his passive armor. But at the same time, if they're able to hold him down, where exactly is Empire going to find any kind of a comeback mechanism?
Yeah, and on paper, Viper seems stupid because you're like, oh, well, Centaur can just ulti everyone away when the ultis, but Centaur's not always going to have that ulti up, and when he doesn't, these slows from Viper are actually going to be very effective.
Yep.
The only thing I fear for Empire is if Bat gets a good game, I feel like Bat's going to have just a field day with these heroes.
Yep.
Obviously, the Carapace is really nice as well, but if Bat goes and lassos Viper, and that's your one-position hero, I feel like it's a very, very simple kill. So, yeah, that's the only thing I fear for Empire. But all in all, I still like the Viper pick. I think it's if he gets some like early team fight items or just gets himself very tanky, like mech and ags, it could be a very, very fast rollover from Empire. And then obviously, if Resolution does go for the Exort build, which I think he will, because every single time I've seen him play, he goes for Exort. They're going to have a lot of damage in the mid game, a lot of damage.
Yep, I agree with you. It's the Viper pick's interesting, man. I agree with everything you just said. I really love a Viper pick. I love heroes that can take pressure off of supports by building the mech themselves. Doom's an example of that. Very viable to get an early mech on him for a number of reasons, and just as viable to get one up on Viper. In fact, I would say it's core at this point, or at least this stage of the meta. But yeah, this is, I feel like just based on the draft, Liquid has to know that the first 15 minutes are going to dictate how the entire rest of the game is going to go. And, that's always true to an extent, but they just have so many more tools to bring Empire down. And, Empire, this is the line. I use the word thin a lot because you're not just going to rush in with this 5-man and go, okay, it's just going to work out because we have great team fight. They do have all the tools they need, but they have to be executed in a very particular fashion. They have to be hitting the primary targets with the impale. They need to be focusing down the right targets with their burst potential between Vendetta and between Soul Assumption in particular. Rubik, again, has to play very well. They need Vanscore to be right on top of stealing whatever abilities he can to turn these around. Centaur Stomp is a good example of that. Lasso, if you can get it from Bat, which is usually pretty easy to steal for the most part, because you're just going to lasso and run away. You're not going to take the time it takes to throw out a flame break or something like that to try and keep Rubik from stealing it. So we'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, the creep spawn, the horn blows, and we're underway. Let's take a look at who's handling who. We're going to have TC farming up the Centaur. He's actually down in the safe lane for the moment. We're going to have in mid Koikva on the Shadow Fiend. So Demon, when he plays with Liquid, no longer the automatic go-to Shadow Fiend, which is going to be a little bit of an adjustment for him. Dazzle going to be played by the person I was just talking about. Demon, Bad Rider, taken into the off lane by Bulba, and that Venge going to be played by Way Too Sexy. Other side of the river, we've got Mag on the Nyx Assassin out in the off lane. Going to have Always Wanna Fly playing on the Visage. Resolution, as anticipated, will be on the Invoker mid. They'll be needing a lot of very high caliber performance out of him as well. Rubik, they'll be played by Vanscore, as mentioned, and Viper will be played by Silent at bottom. Mag eating a little bit of damage, but yeah, he's feeling pretty tanky. Already starts out with a poor man's shield and some tangos.
Yep, and mid lane, you already have an early... yeah, it's level 1 raise here for Koikva, as he does have his bottle, but he's already got a little bit of pressure from the illusion room from Visage, but he's actually doing quite well as a result, even though... oh, there's a pause. And yeah, Resolution doesn't have the best lane positioning here early on. He's got double archer, so it's a little annoying for him. Hopefully he's able to get last hits, which normally you should, because you're Exort, so you have extra damage, especially on Shadow Fiend, who's got terrible damage without those souls. And yeah, Resolution's up to early 4 CS. And it's just a little hiccup, and now we're going back in the game.
And we're going to have to take just a second here, as apparently there have been some video issues today. And when we get a chance, we're going to try to resolve that. The screen flickering that plagued us earlier in the week was a problem. Mag's going to eat a magic missile stun. Here comes TC, unable to get in range of the stomp. And yeah, Mag's feeling very survivable. Like I said, started with the poor man's shield and the tangos, and is just going blow for blow with Way Too. And Way Too just kind of stutter stepping his way, now just going to turn tail and run. And not liking the way that felt. Mag just knows how to handle this matchup, knows how to handle the hero, and is doing quite well for himself. We can already see up to level 2.5. Up at top, roughly the same story for Bulba. Not very hard to farm in front of this if you happen to be a Bad Rider, and he's doing a great job there. Demon, by the way, is just kind of being left to himself. We can see he is doing what he can to jungle it up, but he's just staying very, very close to mid and doing what he can to get some experience out of the jungle on his own.
Yeah, I actually don't know why he's not pulling. I feel like they could be getting extra levels and experience on their support heroes. Maybe they really want to focus on keeping Mag out, but he's almost level 3. So I feel like they need to be utilizing these poles. They're not warded. They're definitely pullable. And obviously, doing level 1 jungling with Dazzle against Mud Golems is not exactly the most efficient way to play your game. So yeah, I'm very curious as to why they're not pulling and getting the extra resources on your supports. And these are supports that really need it. Like really, top lane Bulba might be in some trouble.
Yep, he's slowed down. Do they have the damage? Soul Assumption, one more auto attack, and that's first blood. Going to Empire, and Bulba, was talking about how it's not going to be hard for him to stay pretty aggressive here, but you have to, Rubik, the range on telekinesis is not huge. You just have to always make sure you're positioned so that if the Rubik comes out to try and make a run at you, you're going to see him coming. Koikfa, yep, going to be eating the cold snap. Resolution's right there on him. Couple more auto attacks. That Tango may have saved him. Oh, definitely saved him. The Forge Spirit did get one shot off on him behind the tower, and the Tango healed him just enough to survive through. It would have been close, but I think Resolution gets that kill if Koikfa doesn't eat a tree. So in good shape already. Bulba's going to make his way into the jungle. Koikfa falling all the way back and being kind enough to help stack on his way through. We do see now, finally, Dazzle has made his way into bottom lane, so Demon going to be trying to play a little catch-up and do a little dewarding while he's about it.
Yeah, they know that Mag was playing in a way that whenever they'd walk by there, he saw them, so... Nonetheless, finally they're doing some pulling, as it's very, very much needed on these supports. That's what I was getting at, is these supports really need the levels. That's what I talked about last game, is Venge is one of the best scaling supports, but obviously if you're not getting your levels, you're not going to be able to be as effective. And Dazzle is definitely a hero that really needs his levels as well, so for obvious reasons. He's saving his skill point, too. He's not sure if he really needs the Poison Touch or the Shallow Grave yet, so he's just holding on to it for now.
Koikfa's made his way back into mid lane. Taking a look at the early CS, we can see Resolution is kind of just handling him. There's really no other way to say it. It's 14 to 21 in overall CS. The abuse coming out of Resolution is quite tough for Koikfa to stand up to, even with his bottle up, and now beginning to tally a few more CS with the power of those razors, and lands a good one on Resolution as well. So it's certainly going both ways, but just having the pure Quas Exhort build makes it difficult. He's able to regen so quickly. Demon now spotted by Mag. Mag has a level 2 Impale, also has a Carapace. He's going to need help. And we see the Shadow Wave doing what he can. There's the Poison Touch. He finally did place that second point. Here's Koikfa. Sunstrike on the way, and the kill secure. Now Koikfa not going to be able to bring Mag down as he hustles away with that haste rune. And I'm a little surprised it took Koikfa as long as it did to rotate over.
Yeah, I wasn't really watching Koikfa, but that's the power of Exort Invoker right there. Being able to have a presence when you're just farming. Not to mention... the Exort Invoker is really growing on me. I know for a while there we were casting and we would see every Invoker go Exort. I was like, why aren't they going Quas Wex? But this Exort Invoker is really growing on me.
Oh, mainly because Demon. They rotated him to top to try and help him get some levels, and they had the gank set up before he even respond.
And he doesn't have Grave. Not even if he did, it wouldn't matter anyway. But
that's just bad luck. Basically, they knew he's struggling. He's falling behind in levels. He died in the jungle. And they'd already rotated Vanscore and Always Want to Fly. They're standing right here, and we're heading in this direction when Demon respawns. So they knew whoever was going back there, they were going to make a run at. So some bad luck, but an early lead for Empire in this game one. We'll take a look in just a moment. And, take a look at the goal graph. It's, Empire is opening up a lead, but when you look at the actual gold, it is staying right near zero along with experience. So even though it has the flavor of game one, the efficiency of Team Liquid is keeping them in things.
Yeah, the big thing is that Bad is getting a ton of farm compared to Mag, who has literally 0 CS. So that's only, even with 3 kills in Empire's favor, that's the reason why it's kind of even as far as golden experience goes. Just because Bat farms so well in the jungle. Lane top, so good for Bulba. He's almost level 6. He's about 1,000 gold away from his blink, so shouldn't be too bad of a timing for him.
Invis room spotted at bottom. Mag, Bulba. It's going to be Bulba who takes it. So a little short of level 6. It's a shame he wasn't already level 6. He's going to have to take it off of him now. But yep, there's that Midas on Resolution. So looks like we were right about that. And, it makes a lot of sense given they are in a pretty decent position right now. Koikfa is getting some more CS and trying to get caught up in mid, but still trailing a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at the Invoker, or the Exort Invoker rather, is that not only can you have that presence globally, but he's so good in mid simply because, not so much of the damage, but you can get every single last hit, even against hard matchups, because you can always time extra CS with Forge Spirits if you need to, if you feel like you can't get it. Top tower getting pressed. Vanscore gets the credit for the tower, which is actually really good if you can get tower gold for your supports. I actually think it's almost even better than getting on a hero like Viper, because Viper doesn't necessarily need the gold that much.
Yeah.
He's not like your super hard carry, but if you get extra gold on your supports like Vanscore, get early mana boots up with a blink, like, oh, you're going to be so freaking strong.
Well, he actually opted to grab a bracer with that extra little bit of gold. He's got his magic wand and his bracer done, and I like that approach, but I think it reflects that they know that not only do they want to fight, but they know for a fact with Liquid's lineup being what it is, they're going to want to get active pretty early too. Wave 2's about level 4.5, not quite 5, almost level 8 now for the Shadow Fiend. Is yet to skill his ultimate, probably won't at level 8. Probably go ahead and finish up his points into Necro Mastery, no surprise there. Resolution's about a full level ahead of him, give or take. Vanscore still has a ways to go to 6. Same thing for Visage. So right now, pretty much anyone's game. Even though Empire has found the kills more often, they are in a bit of a lead. It's still less than 1,500, and the experience is actually in favor of Team Liquid. A lot of it, again, going to come down to Bulba. He'll be getting active very soon. He's going to hit level 6 as soon as he clears this last camp. And Koikva just picked up his Midas as well.
Yeah, well, Bulba and TC, because they need to utilize the Centaur ulti as well, which is a very good combo. This is when we first saw Centaur come on the scene. It was almost entirely with Batrider, just simply because you can lasso someone, use the ulti from the Stampede to pull him back as far back as you can. So if they're able to get that a couple times with a fresh blink from Bulba, they can bounce back into this game. I say bounce back even though the graph is actually in favor of them for EXP. It's still relatively close in gold, but yeah, I still feel like Empire has a grasp on this game until we see some active play from Liquid.
Totally agree with you. The first couple of engagements for Liquid are going to set the tone. They need to not just take wins, but big ones. They need to be trading 2-0, 3-0. 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s against Empire's lineup, I feel like is actually going to allow them too much time to get up those core items we had talked about. Maybe an early Scepter on Visage if he does well. Scepter mech on Silent, which we can already see. The mech is practically done now. And in fact, I didn't see, let me check the courier. Yeah, it should be up. It's the wrong courier. There it is. Mech is done. So mech's already up, and they're going to be in a good position to fight. So with the mech already up, they can't afford to feed Silent. They can't afford to buy more and more time for resolution. We're going to have a Centaur ulti down at bottom. Mag's in trouble and brought down. So nice way to set the tone and get on the board for the first time.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed to do. Fresh blink, very nice timing from Bulba. 9 minutes or so, maybe even earlier. No, he just got it actually, 9 minutes, and then using the Centaur to bring him back as far back as you can so that you can have extra combo stuns like Way 2 stun to, initiate further onto a hero to just guarantee that kill. So they need to keep doing that a couple more times. And as long as they can keep creating space for SF, I think they'll be fine because Koikva is actually farming very, very well, as most Shadow Fiends do.
It's a little surprise. Oh, Resolution caught in the jungle, or caught coming out of the jungle, more accurately, and ends up dying. Bulba was there with the flame break in case they needed it, but yep, this is what we anticipated out of Team Liquid, and I expect we're going to see them run together for the most part. Koikva has moved his way on top of the overall net worth chart along with TC after those last 2 kills. So Demon even now catching up some. He is level 6, so he has Weave at his disposal.
Yeah, Demon, even though he died 2 times right off the bat, he was like, all right, fine, I'm going to go up here and I'm not going to die. I'm just going to make sure I get experience. And his Shadow Wave is such a long range away. It's ridiculously far. And he was able to actually get CS from afar as well. So he's up to 21 CS and level 6. So despite his early 2 deaths, and he hasn't been able to help out his team too much, he's got experience that he needed. So good for him.
TC's going to vacate the premises, and a wise decision as Empire has grouped as 5 and is ready to begin pushing. And this is the right call, I think. Make use of what you do have up and what you do have ready, namely your mechanism, some decent survivability items up on Vanscore. You do have great tools for a nice balance of physical and magic damage. Now they're going to come back into mid. As we can see, the Tier 1 was banged a bit by Demon and Koikva. There's going to be a weave on the Silent. And Demon trying to trade with him evenly. There's going to be the Viper Strike. Silent can't afford to pursue him out. Can't really do it at all. Now there's going to be a Grave as Demon TPs away right in his face. So well played there. Didn't manage to get the tower. At top, though, they will be able to bring down the Tier 1 as any defense was going to be a little late in the coming. Always want to fly in mag, not enough on their own.
Well, it was a smart TP by Silent. He knew that if they gave 2 towers for 1, it'd be a very, very bad trade for them. Honestly, even that was a pretty good trade for Liquid, to be honest, because they they were able to get that tower with 3 heroes and still pressure mid with 2 more, whereas Empire took basically all 5 heroes for a start to get that tier 1 tower bottom. So Liquid making some smart decisions, actually, despite them having not the best start, but they're coming back in here, and now Bulba might look for an initiation here top.
There's the lasso and the ulti. They got to always want to fly. Good kill for them. TP's going to come in. Mag's right behind them, has Vendetta if they want to pursue. That was just Vanscore that came, though, so not likely. And we're going to have a rotation on the Koikva in mid now. Sunstrike's going to be off the mark, but Cold Snap's there along with some help from Silent. They managed to get a key kill on him. And, you know, I want to say that actually favors Empire. They didn't really do anything to the tower after they managed to get the kill onto the Visage. Always nice to hold a Visage down, but Koikva, given he's not participating, they can't lose him. Now this could be good. Silent swapped right into a stomp. Excellent timing and a great play from Liquid. And way too bailed out by Demon with the shallow grave. So just what I was saying, basically negated there. A return kill on the Viper makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, really nice grave there by Demon. He was dead for sure unless he got graved. Can we see a YOLO Sunstrike perhaps? That would be very fun to see, but nope, yeah, very nicely played. And I actually was wondering why Silent was staying there that far. Like, there was only 2 of them, and then after Liquid got the kill up top, they all left immediately. Like, they just all vanished off the map. So it's kind of like safe to assume that they're going to come for you in mid, and that was just kind of, I think, a positioning error by Silent, to be honest. He needed to be a little bit more careful about that.
Liquid's in good position here. They've got a bit of a lead in gold, and they've opened up a very decent lead in experience as well. Empire's going to try to go ahead and bring down the tier 1 mid, as everyone from Liquid did have to pull back to try to heal up. Let's see if they want to initiate. Nope. TC has Stampede. Now he'll go. Looking for the stop. We've got 2. And, oh, he's going to be telekinesed out of it. Brought back down, and a great impale. Trying to turn this around. TC pops his blade mail. And now the mech gets them back up and fighting. There's going to be a good grave from Demon to keep him alive for the moment. Koikva uses the ulti, gets some damage done, but honestly, that was much worse than it needed to be. He came up and basically just set off a big flare that said, I'm here, come kill me. Behind that, we can see TC almost brought down as they chase down yet another one over to the side. And they end up losing the bat as well as Koikva there. And yeah, that's... Basically, Koikva was nowhere near the heart of the team. He was right here, and they were circling around this way. And he got some damage done, but basically just made himself a big old bullseye. And they chased him down.
I don't think there's a better way to say it. He totally made himself a bullseye. Like, here I am, come get me.
Yep.
So kind of a questionable play there. And Visage is so good in engagements like that, too, because one shallow grave, and he's, like, dead.
Yep.
Completely dead with extra damage. And like I mentioned, there's a lot of damage on the lineup of Empire. Also, I want to say really nice play by Mag. The Stampede came out, and Mag just like ran forward with the Carapace on, knowing that he was going to stun several heroes. And then he got a double stun with his Impale right after that. So that's what really started the fight. So well played by Mag in that fight.
Yep, totally agree. And think about how that worked out. It was exactly what we talked about during the draft. You saw the Stampede in. He got caught in mid animation for the initial stomp. He got caught in telekinesed, and then Mag follows it up with an Impale that completely reversed the momentum of that fight. So Empire gets a big win, and TC, what are you doing? Demon's behind you, I understand. You're going to get the tower. I'm surprised he's going to be able to get away here. There's going to be a lasso on the Vanscore. Now the Stampede is there. There's going to be a swap from way to end. They get another good kill. I thought Empire was going to be able to just punish him for running up under the tower, but they were a little slow and trying to do so. Now Always Want to Fly's there. TC looking for another stomp. Has it off cooldown now. Always Want to Fly. No, he couldn't get it off. Now finally he does. But he drops in the meantime. Resolution actually secures the kill with his Necro Creeps. I'm not sure if TC killed himself on it or if the creep actually right-clicked. But Vanscore gets eyes on Bulba, gets the telekinesis off. And what did he steal? He actually got Sticky Napalm, so not terrible there. They end up trading a couple for a couple. But Empire now with a kill lead. The nice thing is Koikva is continuing to farm away whilst all this is going on, and he's going to have his BKB done right now.
He desperately needs that BKB because when he runs in, if he just gets any kind of stun or slow on him, I'm really surprised he didn't die there. It was a Silent that turned on him. If they had anyone else trying to go on Koikva, he would have definitely been dead. But TC's really tanky right now, and with this early blade mail, he's not going for initiation. He's relying on his initiation from his Stampede. And then he's saying, hey, if you attack me, I'm going to pop a blade mail, I'm going to do a lot of damage to you. But early Roshan here, very quickly there from Empire, so good heads up for them.
Resolution snagging the Aegis. And it looks like they're ready to collapse bottom. Just going to go ahead and make use of the creep wave that's already semi-pushed out. Silence there. And yeah, they're going to send all 5. And that's kind of the big question mark right now is how effective is Koikfa going to be? He's got his Midas. He's got his BKB. We are just at 17 minutes in, and we are very near even. Empire maintains a little bit of a gold lead. They did cut down the lead that Liquid had built back into their favor. The experience, though, is coming down back towards even, too. I do continue to feel like this is a lineup from Liquid that needs to stay ahead. So if they lose another fight or two, I feel like they're going to find themselves in a very difficult position. Mag's going to get eyes on TC and Way2. And will just hold off for the moment. The rest of the team ready to push the tier 2 bottom. And yeah, it doesn't look like Liquid is really that concerned with coming out to defend. They may do something cute, but Way2 is going to make it back to the base, and they take the tier 2 for free.
They almost got initiation with Mag plus Visage Birds, but
yep.
I feel like this BKB is really going to turn the tides here for Liquid. I really do. I feel like unless they have a lot of people just very persistent about switching their targets to Koikfa immediately with auto attack damage, that Koikfa is going to have a really easy time. So it's really going to be up to Empire. Can they switch to him with Forge Spirits and like auto attacks from Viper? And Viper is going some auto attack damage. He's got a Yasha now, so he's not going for the early Ags. I don't know if you mentioned that, but going for a little bit more right click damage himself, which I think is the key here, because if you can't kill SF, I think you're going to lose every fight for Empire.
Yep.
And I think the glue that really holds this lineup for Liquid is honestly just the bat. The bat's going to make such a big plays, and Bulba's been able to find very good initiations with the Stampede behind him too, to make it just that much easier.
7-8, 15 kills in an 18-minute game. And like you said, Bulba has been a major contributor in that fashion. We can see he's just sitting at 1 and 3, but pretty much every success that Liquid's had to this point has been based on him getting good lassos and being in the right place at the right time. Now, we're going to have Mag almost engaged upon. They are going to force staff and grab him. He is under cover of Vendetta. Sentry went down, and they get a kill for free. Vanscore managed to come in and grab Stomp, and he's still being pursued out. Empire's there with a few. They got to decide if they're going to fight or not, and looks like they're waiting on some help. And yeah, Liquid's just going to bail out. Now, they got to be careful. This is so tough to do against this team because of Cold Snap, because of Viper. Demon's going to be able to grave himself if he wants to, and yep, gets it off. Now they're going to be able to catch TC, though. Blade Mail's pop, but they're not going to care. They're just going to focus him down. And that's just something they need to be cognizant of, and something we haven't honestly talked that much about. Whenever you have a Visage that can pursue you with his birds, whenever you have a Viper that if he gets in range is going to be able to slow you, whenever you have the Cold Snap of an Invoker, he does have 1 point in a Wex, so he can even throw a Tornado if he wants to. They have so many tools to punish you for trying to turn tail and run, and that's exactly what happened there. Down at bottom, we can say Koikfa and Way2 are going to try to trade a tier 1 for a tier 2. Glyph has been used on this tier 2 here in mid. Will end up dropping, and Mag's there to maybe try to save the tier 1 bottom. They have a Glyph if they want it. Yep, they're going to Glyph right now. There's an Impale, and they're going to try to force them away. 22 HP on this tower. Well timed by Koikfa. Could not have timed it any closer, but gets the tower last shot. So a little bit of a win for Empire, but Liquid at least able to walk away with something.
Yeah, I think they could have actually TP'd and defend that, but I think several members just didn't have a TP. Silent didn't have one. Vanscore didn't have one. I think someone TP'd in mid as well in the tier 2 earlier from that last engagement as a pause comes out. So their TP was on cooldown. So unfortunately, Mag wasn't able to get the deny, but it's really difficult to get a deny against the Shadow Fiend that hits for 170 damage. So well played there. Pause comes out. But obviously, they'll trade the tier 2, I think, for a tier 1 any day. Or other way around.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you can look at the graphs and see Empire has cut the experience down to basically even, and the gold is right at about 2,000 in their favor, which is not the biggest deal in the world. It's not so much that, it's that much in their favor, which, again, is fairly negligible at this stage of the game. But it's more that they took away what Liquid was trying to build with it. The Liquid was just about to that point as well at 1,500 and was on a severe upswing. And they managed to reverse that around. Liquid, again, TC and the Bat, played by Bulba, really the heroes that have to be on point, and I feel like they have been for the most part. But the decision making overall, Koikfa's made a couple of blunders that we've seen, and just their decision to try to retreat in some situations, try to get aggressive. Hang on, Vanscore going to engage on the Way2, uses the Stomp to buy time, and he's dead. And bursted down with the help of the Invoker as well. So a free one there. Bulba wants some payback. He's going to lasso back Mag, and TC misses with the Stomp. Carapace has been used. He's going to get a lot of stuns off. And yeah, he's actually still alive for the moment. Koikfa shows off the BKB, but Vanscore right there on top of him. Koikfa is going to be graved to make sure he stays alive as Silent was pecking at him through the trees. They ended up trading support for support. as Nyx ends up dropping for the Vengeful Spirit. Koikva, though, did use his 10-second BKB charge there. Just heard the Sunstrike. Not even sure where it was shot, but not on the mark.
Yeah, that could have been really close. He almost got trapped by 2 different creeps as well. Yeah, unfortunately not able to get that easy stun from TC. It didn't end up really mattering in the end. It just took him a little bit longer to get the kill, which could actually matter now because this tower up top is dying way too fast. So arguably that actually might have made a difference because if they got the kill faster onto Nyx, perhaps they have the time to respond up top. So yeah, actually it could have come into play, that missed stun there.
Resolution is man-moding it.
Yeah,
Basically,
he does so much damage, man.
Yeah, I mean, he just like chased down 5 heroes from Liquid. Like it was all 5 running from Resolution, who was out in front. You knew they were going to have most of them there, but still way too far forward, and it is going to end up being Grave, but that's been spent now. Now we're going to have a lasso on the Resolution. Aegis is going to be popped. That's a little bizarre choice out of Bulba, I think, because now he's going to be back up. He was almost dead to begin with. And now they're going to have to engage off that. There's a Stampede chasing it back. BKB up on Silent. Bulba going to end up dropping to the Visage and the Burst. It's going to be a nice Impale as well. And Koikva has to pop his BKB, but it doesn't matter. Viper Strike goes through it. Can he TP away? No. TC left running for the well and will be able to survive the Soul Assumption because he blinked into the well. But I think that was a major misplay from Bulba. Deciding to go. Resolution was sitting at a quarter health, if that, and was in a very tough situation. Spent the lasso on him when he had Aegis. Now Silent is going to end up dropping as TC's back up and ready to fight. And they will be able to force them out, but not. Oh, nice swap from Way2. Resolution very quick on the Ghost Walk, but it doesn't matter as the Sentry was placed down. They did end up losing their melee racks, which is problematic in and of itself, but they're at least able to get some payback. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that? The fact that Bulba engaged on a target with very little health, spent that lasso whenever he could have arguably spent it on, say, Silent.
I wasn't 100% watching Bulba. I was kind of looking at other things, so I don't want to judge him if be wrong about it. But it is, I will say, in general, it's kind of questionable to use big cooldowns like that onto a hero that has an Aegis, unless you know for sure you can burst him down right away. But he wasn't very far in. He wasn't very far into their base, so that yeah. I wasn't 100% watching it, but I will just say that you don't want to use big cooldowns onto a hero with an Aegis. Also, very nice steal from the Rubik. He got the Stampede, which paid dividends that fight. And also, I think the biggest thing is this is the second time I've seen amazing counter initiation from Mag with a Blink Carapace. Yep. It was right on top of a Stampede yet again. And he got, that's the second time he did that and then got a double stun with his Impale. So Mag, even though he's not making like the flashiest plays, if you're actually watching in these team fights, he's the one really winning it for Empire, in my opinion.
Yep, not just a Carapace, he had another 2-man Impale.
Yeah.
And, yeah, what I think we're beginning to see, to a certain extent, is just how big of a counter to a Shadow Fiend a Viper is. He gets a Viper Strike off on Koikva, and no matter how far ahead you are, and Koikva's certainly looking pretty good. I mean, he's number 2 in terms of overall CS, or overall net worth, excuse me, in comparison to Resolution. But no matter what, I mean, unless you're just snowballing so hard it literally doesn't matter what you build, you're going to have to kite a little bit. You have to keep yourself from being the big center of attention because, you know, you tend to build fairly glass cannon. And yeah, where he's actually going to get a Manta style now, and I think he needs it because we saw there he got Viper struck, and basically Viper just pecked away at him by himself. When he turned to try to run, he just got pursued down and charged down. Now, well, there's going to be a Hex on the Demon. That Scythe of Ice showed up by the Invoker. Very quick Stampede, though, behind the fight. We can see Silent's going to end up dropping here. Resolution doing what work he can and has to end up turning around behind the fight. Mag in some trouble. He's bursted down. Bulba may end up dropping. Resolution trying to flank around. Soul Assumption not enough on its own. But Koikva and Way2 up and still in good position. Always one to fly's dead for sure. And a little bit of over-aggression from Empire there, and they gave away a big fight. The Team Liquid that time, who now leads 16-13. Just look at what a swing that made in favor of Liquid as we're now just about back to 0 in terms of the goal graph, and the experience has just spiked straight through the roof for TL.
Yeah, this is huge, man. Like, this is the beginning of a comeback now.
For sure.
This is exactly what I said at the beginning that I was afraid of for Empire. I don't think you can bait your Viper, by the way. Like, he really needs to live in these team fights a long time for you to be successful. And this is exactly what I said. If he gets caught out by, like, a bat lasso and he just dies immediately, and then I don't think the Empire really have the means to get back in the team fight unless he buys back and is able to come back in the fight right away. But that was so far away and he doesn't have bots or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't. Obviously, they were caught off guard. I think it was like both teams were smoking each other, and Liquid just had the better initiation. But they unsmoked Viper. They didn't have him in the smoke, so they were trying to bait him. But I don't think you can bait Viper. I really don't. I don't think you have the means to save him as fast or consistently from Mag with the Blink Carapace as you might have been able to get off in the past.
I think he's too important to dealing with Koikva. And what was the difference in that fight? The biggest win Team Liquid's had in this game? Koikva was able to just stand and fight that time. You didn't have him being charged down by Forge Spirits. You didn't have him being charged down by Necro Creeps. You didn't have Silent pecking away at him and busting him with Viper Strike. That was the difference for sure. And yeah, Empire just got a little ahead of themselves there. By the way, I was watching this Rax. It was this ranged Rax very nearly ended up dying to nothing but creeps, but it is still standing at 35 CS. But anytime Liquid leaves now, they're going to have to be aware that top lane's going to shove hard. They need to get into the Roche pit quick. Roche at about a quarter health. Here comes Koikva. He's out in front. Can they get there in time? It's going to be so close. BKB used, and it's going to be picked up by Invoker. They're going to try to turn this around. Silent, though, was brought out. Big ulti from Koikva as he helps clean house. Buyback immediately out from Silent. Resolution made it away with Ghost Walk to preserve that Aegis. But the buyback from Silent's going to prove to be pretty much useless. Doesn't even have room for a TP unless he sells his wand or at least drops it. So Team Liquid at the very least, even though they lost the Roshan and even though the Aegis does go to the Invoker, manages to make it a victory that was a little costly. Now
Silent got swap ready. Oh, geez.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that too. And he took level 2 swap. Not waiting too long on that. And you can see the increase in range. That is so much bigger, man. It just is.
Yeah. Resolution needs to heal, though. And unfortunate buyback there from Silent. It may have prevented Liquid from pursuing Resolution and the rest of the heroes. So, although on paper it looks like, oh god, what a waste of a buyback, it could have prevented some further kills or aggression from Liquid. So, but nonetheless, in retrospect, it was kind of wasted because he wasn't able to get anything out of it, unfortunately. So, but Resolution, he's got his sheep stick now and another 27, almost 3k gold. So these fights are going poorly for Empire. And it really comes down to Viper just dying immediately. Like, he needs to stand back. And now with the Aegis, they can kind of bait out the Invoker. Silent yet again here.
Lassoed back, and great telekinesis from Vanscore. Is it going to be enough? TC comes in, and the Carapace, or TC looking for the stomp, rather. Here we come. Mag hits another good impale. They're going to get way too off of this because of the Sunstrike. TC using his Blade Mail gets a stomp off on just one, but he doesn't have the damage by himself. Mag eats a little bit of right click, but now Koikva is just teeing off on the rest of Empire. So they end up almost getting everyone away as the Nyx does end up dying behind the fight. Empire managing to disjoint that and keep Silent up at the very least. But, yeah, Silent almost caught out again, and you can see how much they're prioritizing him now. And more importantly, when he's on the run or he's not a part of the fight, Koikva is just going bonkers.
Yeah, thank God for Vanscore, too, because that was, like, really fast reactions from him with the Blink lift. Had he not been there right in time at that moment with the fast reactions, yeah, Silent's dead 100%. And then they lose the fight. Perhaps maybe have some aggression onto their tier 3. So yeah, really well played from him. And again, it just needs to be Viper living, honestly, in these fights. Maybe even he decides to go for a Lincoln's in the near future if he can absolutely farm it. But you do have Force Staff to maybe cancel it a bit if Bulb was fast, so that might be a bad choice. Never mind about that. But nonetheless, the point still stands. He needs to live. And if anything, I was going to say before that aggression, they have the Aegis now in Resolution. Perhaps they can bait him and just make them waste it again. As you saw of the top tower, it worked out dividends for them with having the Aegis onto Resolution. So I think that's the key here. Viper living in the fights at all costs and then getting multiple Viper strikes on people if he gets that Ags up soon.
I'm curious as to what Resolution's building here. He's got his Ultimate Orb up. Could be a Lincoln's. I don't know. What do you think?
For a Resolution?
Yep.
If he has an ulti orb, yeah, I think it's going to be Lincoln's. I don't think it would be anything else. I mean, Lincoln seems to be the most appropriate here against the Bat right or last.
Scotty is an option.
It could be okay against Shadowfeet, but you already have slows. I think it's just... Yeah, and the Centaur ulti kind of makes it crappy. I don't know. I think the big thing is keeping your Viper alive. Right. He might just constantly be spamming the Lincolns onto Silent. Yeah. That might not be a bad idea at all. Here's a 5-man smoke though from Empire. This could be better. Not baiting the Viper was a smart choice here for Empire.
Yep, and they've got him up front. He's not going to be baiting, but he will be face tanking if they end up running right in the Liquid, who is also running as 5. And this is where initiation becomes so important. Mag with the blink and a force staff, he needs to be hitting a 2 or 3 man impale. And Bulba needs to not be able to do what Bulba basically wants to do more than anything, which is land a lasso on the resolution. That one near the base I still feel like was a mistake because he was so low and they were going to... TC spotted immediately, got the stampede off, but it's not going to matter. He dies immediately and Liquid has to scramble. Just heading in as many different directions as they can. Demon came in to try to help, and he's going to be the next casualty of war. So they're down for a minute. This happened in this top lane as well, and they could end up trying to push and punish them for that. Speaking of buybacks, does TC have it? He does not. So no buyback for TC and no buyback for Demon.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be that big of a deal because he only has 35 seconds on his respawn timer. But that being said, I don't know why players buy recipes to their items and then just not save for buyback, because the recipe does literally nothing for him, right?
Right.
TC has a Heart of Tarask recipe on it, so it's just kind of a pet peeve of mine. It doesn't really make any sense. You're not getting anything for it. At the very least, save for buyback in case you desperately need it, because that recipe isn't doing anything. So, kind of a pet peeve of mine, but it won't become an issue here, but it could become an issue in the future.
Invoker did opt for the Scotty.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yep.
Well, it makes him very tanky, I'll tell you that.
Not just tanky, it's another way to deal with these heroes that are going, it's another way to deal with Koikva, basically, is the general sense of it. And Koikva's really the big problem. Resolution's going to be lassoed back. This is a big pick if they get it, and they will. Aegis is gone, and here comes the rest of Empire. Can they catch him? Impales off the mark. Mag needed to hit that one. Rest of... Oh, here we go. Koikva pops the BKB. Look at his right click against Resolution. They see him. They know where he is. There's the double edge, but nice disarm coming out from the deafening blast. Koikva now. Can they focus him down? Great grave from Demon, but the Impale stunned him. They're going to be able to get him with one last auto attack. No! Manages to get off the ult. He's silent now. Focused down by TC. The rest of Liquid charging them down. Vanscore stunned by the magic missile and always want to fly. Next on the list. Doing what damage he can. But behind the fight, all Matt can do is run, but he can't run far. Using the Carapace to buy him some time, but only delaying the inevitable as Way 2's there with the swap and the cleanup. And Empire, what? I have no idea why he was here and why he thought it was safe to be that far in front of his team. No clue.
Yeah, well, scratch that. Scotty doesn't make him tanky one bit because he blew the fuck up. I still don't even understand because... The slow is nice, and okay, clearly the tankiness idea, no, it's out the window. You don't get tanky at all from that. You need armor, if anything, if you want to be more tanky, not just raw HP. So tankiness, bleh, doesn't do anything for you. Slow, didn't see it come into play. I thought he was going to maybe turn around and just attack SF once and then try to walk away, but he didn't even try that because he just didn't have time. So, here comes an ulti there from Bulba with the Centaur Stampede as well. Vanscore could be dead. Gets the lift off. He might be able to get in range to blink, and he does.
Ooh, so close. Disjoints the auto attack. And Bulba's right behind him. He's going to find a DD, but I don't know that it's going to matter. Yeah, he's dead. Here come the birds to try and scare him away, but Vanscore down for a little while. He'll be back up in about 40 seconds, but I feel like, at this stage, Empire just needs to play patient and wait on their team to assemble. They're getting out by themselves way too far out from their towers, and Liquid is capitalizing on that.
Yeah, and not to say that this was like the end-all be-all pickup, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen Scotty just ruin games for people when they picked it up for them, where I just feel like you could have so much more of an effective item. I don't think the slow warrants getting the item at all for me. Like, I just feel like Lincoln's would have been so much better. And I know that even though, like, okay, that would mean that Bat would have to cancel the Lincolns with the force stuff before he goes in, and you're like, okay, well, he still has Stampede to work with, but it's still getting rid of it's still getting rid of the force staff. Not to mention, it gives you a split second more time to react and potentially disjoint that initiation, which might seem like negligible, but it actually makes a huge difference in high-level play. So I feel like Lincoln's would have been a much better decision with the ulti orb. I mean, you could also go back and say, should he even get Lincoln's? And
right.
Maybe not. Maybe he just goes for more armor or just like a completely different item.
Bulba gonna run right into a whole team, gets the lasso off. That's gonna be on the silent, gets him to the low ground. Big pick there, and he's gonna end up dropping. No, he got the BKB and the mech off. Now the reinitiation off the Visage Familiars. Demon being pursued by Resolution. Bulba's in trouble. He's gonna be graved. Demon doing what he can, ends up force staff to the high ground. Quakefa's still up and fighting. Vanscore stole Magic Missile and stunned him. He's going to have to disjoint it, but the Familiars are doing so much damage. Now Resolution pecking away at TC. Familiars there with the stun. Ice Wall is down. This should have been a huge coup for Team Liquid. Instead, it goes the opposite direction. Roche still a minute or two from spawning, so at the very least, Liquid's going to have a chance to maybe challenge for it. But what a turnaround from Empire. And Quakefa coming into that fight, winning where he did. I'll tell you who won that fight. It's a guy who's dead. His name is Visage. Amazing play from Always Wanna Fly. He used the Familiars in every aspect of that fight and ended up being the biggest winner. Vanscore landing that stun on Quakefa as well to buy time for the damage to be done. Just great play, forcing the buyback now out of TC.
SF has no buyback, though.
Yep. And there's another one that's going to be on the bat. TC could end up bursting. Nice swap from Way2 keeps him up and fighting for the moment. There's going to be Way2 now engaged upon Bulba using the BKB. Creep! Got a creep! Vanscore trying to make for the high ground. And there's the blink in, and Mag trying to help him out. There's the magic missile to stun him out, and Bulba just needs to turn around. Looks like he knows it, too. Mag's heading up to the north, and that poor creep and that poor Bulba missing out on what should have been a free one.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate. I mean, I think there was there a 4-staff on someone? Maybe it was a 4-staff onto Invoker, but I feel like he got pushed away, and he also had BKB up, and
yep.
Obviously that doesn't matter against the lasso, but something happened where it pushed him away, and it made it a little bit more difficult for Bulba. But that's really unfortunate. You don't want to be having that happen. But I will say TC was like really, really far up. He was just trying to buy time, I suppose, to save the Rex, which they did save the Rex. In the last fight for Roche, or near Roche, I should say, I was watching, unfortunately, TC versus Silent. It was very scary for Silent. It was inevitable death. But nonetheless, he completely wasted TC's time.
Yep.
Because TC spent the entire time walking with like 100 movement speed towards a Viper who was going to die no matter what, but still wasted so much of TC's time and slowed him. And then TC, despite his high hit points, just gets bursted down by all the damage from Empire. So, yeah.
And looks like Roshan going to be the next big point of contention. He is up, and there's going to be a smoke from Liquid. BKB is done on Invoker. Quakefa's out in front. And they're going to smoke straight through mid. Empire, wisely this time, not getting too strung out. They're going to pull back and smoke themselves. Wait and see. Here we go. Go ahead and pop it, whoever's got it. There you are. So they're going to end up going. They're going to run into each other potentially. Right beside each other. Two ships passing in the night. Oh, they got the high ground advantage. You're going to see him coming. Vanscore spots him. Bulba trying to jump ahead. And, oh, he actually is going to miss out. Vanscore B is going to be pursued out over the side. Now Mag's going to re-engage TC with a great stop behind it, though. But the big rock hits. Bulba doing what he can. Gets the lasso off onto Resolution. Quakefa, though, forced to pop the Manta, continuing to take a ton of damage. Beautiful stuns off the Visage Familiars. That might buy enough time for him to get away. Didn't see what Vanscore got. He actually managed to get the Shadow Wave behind that. Bulba's been grave. They did manage to get a triple kill with Quakefa, and they're going to get a gem off of that as well. So 3 down for Empire. No buybacks on anyone, and Sunstrike came close to maybe getting Quakefa or Bulba. This is going to be a Roshan now for Liquid. No buybacks for anyone except for Quakefa. And, yeah, this is intense. There's still a Rax advantage for Empire. Down at bottom, we can see they're pushing into the tier 3s. They're going to have to make up their mind. Do they try to push while these heroes are down, or do they fall back and defend? Looks like it's going to be the choice for defense. Probably the right decision.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The heroes are up actually relatively quickly on Empire. That was 100% all TC, by the way.
Yes.
Massive, huge
what
blink
a
stun.
stomp.
It was so effective, and had he not been able to get a double stun right there, I don't know if Empire was, or I don't know if Liquid was going to be able to take that, because I was actually questioning, oh no, they're kind of using all their big cooldowns of the BKB, lasso, the Stampede onto Rubik. I'm like, this is your fight to take, Empire. But a humongous double stun from TC really saved the day. Mm-hmm. And now I haven't looked at the graphs yet, but I imagine it's going to go heavily in favor. Oh my God, EXP huge. Is over 20K. Over 20K for Liquid.
Yep, and Quakefa is basically 6-slotted. He has the Aegis in one of those slots, so eventually he'll be able to add something else if he doesn't want the Aegis in the future, though I don't imagine that'll be the case. And he's as big as he's going to get. Needs another couple of levels to fully max out at 25, but Satanic, Manta, Daedalus, Treads, and BKB. BKB is down to 4 seconds, though. And Empire knows They have to make something happen. They can't just wait on another 5-man, and they're going to have a chance to do so. Oh, if they can get Koikfa here, this will be huge. They're right beside him, and yep, run right into them. There's a side device. TC's actually going to be stunned out of this. Can they get him fast enough? Way2 swapped him out, but no, Koikfa still going to work with the BKB popped and using the Satanic. Silent, using his own BKB, but cannot stand up to the right click. Way2 sexy, doing his job and buying Koikfa enough time to turn that fight around, and that's probably GG. As 3 are now down, and Liquid battling back and buying Koikfa the time he needed. Empire just kind of ran out of steam.
Yeah, they had no business going on Koikfa, by the way. It's like the absolute worst target you could because he's really tanky. He has a Satanic. If he doesn't die, he just comes back to full HP, which he did. And he also has the Aegis. So I think it was just a matter of our smoke was popping. We had to make some kind of initiation because otherwise it's a wasted smoke. But I agree with you. I think this is game, potentially. Like, I don't see how Empire comes back into this. They just don't have the damage and the means to take out Koikfa with all the damage that he's outputting.
Nope.
Not to mention, like we talked about, the extra auras from Vengeful Spirit are really paying dividends as well. So, yeah, I think this is pretty much over here for Empire, unfortunately.
1 center racks down, about to be 2, and we're going to have a lasso even. On to Mag, and down he goes. I'm a little shocked they haven't just called it. There's really no way they can do much of anything. Way2 and Demon are there trying to deal with Always Want to Fly. And he had Boots of Travel. He's trying to do something cute down here. Ends up dying because of it. And they're going to be able to fall back very, very easily. Koikfa even still has his Aegis, so they can push again before that 3-minute timer is up. But looks like Empire, for the moment, willing to drag it out a little bit.
Yeah, if they just push with Aegis, he picks up a DD here. Not probably going to be able to use it for a fight, but if they just push with Aegis, Liquid wins 100%. But the only way Empire can come back in this game is either waiting out the Aegis or picking them off twice. But I don't think picking them off twice is going to happen. I think they just have to hopefully wait out the Aegis until it expires, and then use everything on Koikfa, back off, wait for him to buy back, and then maybe a miracle happens and they kill him again. But until as long as he has his Aegis, Liquid are immune to everything that Empire wants to throw at them.
And Koikfa just happily farming the jungle all on his own. That DD makes him a bit of a beast.
He's got a new BKB as well.
Oh, did he rebuy?
10-second BKB, yeah.
Nice. That's probably the one thing they could have hoped for. But doing the smart thing, rebuying the BKB. I'll tell you what, man. I think at least recently, Liquid has figured out how to get TC feeling much more effective in these games. Don't put him on hard farmers. Put him on heroes that can farm a little, then go do things. And there's going to be a stomp on the Resolution. And swap from Way2. Resolution, yep, looks like he will be able to make it away. But here comes the final initiation. Silent going to go BKB. It's going to be a Scythe, though. And now the Stampede to follow it up. Resolution picked up by Koikfa behind it. Next is Silent. And Koikfa hitting a crit on the Mag, almost bringing him down. But honestly, doesn't matter. That's going to be that. Buyback on the Res. And Koikfa still has the Aegis, still has his Satanic, and Lasso now on the Resolution. GG going to be called. So, great play from Team Liquid to turn this game around. Trying something new with the camera at the end, by the way. Nope, never mind. Never going to do that again. I thought it would pull back. It would look really cool and cinematic. Not the case. Instead, there we go. It jumped backwards, but occurred to me that it might be cool, like if it pulled back and was super cinematic in the pullback. It would be a cool way to end the matches. I went into the showcase mode on the Ancient at the end, but yeah, don't do that. It's pointless. Nonetheless, a great win for Team Liquid, and we're just about ready to get our next match underway. We are still running a little bit late as we had those tech issues going with Empire, so not even going to look at me, not going to look at anything. We're going to get the next lobby up as soon as possible. 44 minutes, 38 seconds, the official game time. Standout performances, well, TC and Koikfa take that award. We're going to Game 3. Again, the Western Challenge, first BO3 of the day, Liquid versus Empire. Find out who's going to come out on top, the finale next.